regardless of the status of the victim. But so far, the government, BC government, has taken no action to change the law. And this needs to change now.
Thank you so much, Faye. I would like to welcome Pete Fry for his political perspective. Thank you. Go, Pete.
Hi folks, my name is Pete Fry. I'm the City Councilor here in Vancouver. And as we traditionally do, I do want to acknowledge we're on Medicine territory. Must bring strong mission statement to the people. And as I make that acknowledgement, I also need to acknowledge that, in fact, it's Indigenous people in this province who are disproportionately impacted by the failure to update our wrongful death legislation, and we know this as a fact. And it just highlights and underscores the deeply discriminatory nature of wrongful death legislation in our province today. I also want to acknowledge the grief and the pain that you're sharing today. And I know you're all here for someone that you care about, that you've lost. And it's profound through your grief, the work that you're doing, and it's so critically important. I'm an elected city councilor. I pay a lot of time. I pay attention to issues, and I'm deeply involved. But when I saw my friend Anne's Facebook posts filled with grief and pictures of her beautiful, smart, accomplished daughter, and there was a whiff of scandal in amongst the grief, and so I reached out, and what's going on, and she explained what happened, and I'm like, geez, Anne, get a lawyer. And that's when she told me that she couldn't get a lawyer. No lawyer would touch this because of wrongful death legislation in our province, and I was shocked. Here I am, an elected official. I should know that this failure to amend an antiquated law is so deeply impacting people in my city and my province. So we worked on a motion, and I brought it to my colleagues at City Council. And in fact, our staff were so piqued and concerned about it. It was them who brought to my attention the issue about Indigenous people being disproportionately impacted, and the work that Marielle Trapella-Fond has done in this field, and the recommendations in the spirit of reconciliation that we need to amend this law, if nothing more, from the Indigenous perspective, from a reconciliation, truth and reconciliation recommendations. And so as we prepared this motion, and I brought it to my colleagues, and I guess this is where I want to kind of bring in a sense of hope. As I brought this to my colleagues in the City Council, they were shocked. Everyone was shocked. And we passed unanimously a motion to bring this to the Union of BC Municipalities. We brought it to the Lower Mainland Local Government Association, where again, mayors and councillors from across the Lower Mainland were shocked to hear the extent and the failure of wrongful death legislation in our province. And then we brought it to the province, to the UBCM, and it passed. It struggled a little bit because many folks said that it was really outside of our jurisdiction, that as local elected politicians, we weren't really supposed to get involved in this kind of thing. I disagree, and we argued that, and we had a tougher time, but it passed there as well. And it went to the province, and we did have a commitment from the minister that this would be something that would be addressed in this term of government. But I want to say just that it was the advocacy of folks like you, it was the advocacy of In Their Name that actually compelled all of us to act. And I know it's tough, the work you're doing, and it feels like you're pushing a rock up a hill, but you are making a difference. You completely shifted the perspective of the city of Vancouver. You completely shifted the perspective in the governments of the Lower Mainland. You completely shifted the perspective of mayors and councillors across British Columbia, and that's just in the matter of a couple of years. So I know it's tough, but I'm really, and I'm with you. And I told Anne earlier that if I can help in other ways, obviously we passed what we could in a legislative sense, but I'm also here to help in an organizational capacity as you guys need. And I just want you to have some hope that you are pushing up a rock up a hill. But I'm so hopeful, and I feel that we're at the top of that hill, and we will get meaningful change in their name, and for all of you who've lost loved ones that are here today. And I thank you for sharing this space with me.